Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday summary on this Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone across the U.S. Let's get into the show today, bro. A lot of transfer rumors surrounding the club right now, incoming mainly and outgoing. But also, we're going to touch on the Arsenal Guard of Honor, which we've all kind of been looking forward to, right? A lot of comments from Arteta earlier this week, and just a lot to talk about today. So first off, Steve, how are you doing this morning?
Happy Mother's Day. I'm doing great. Happy Mother's Day to my mother. If she's watching, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there in the world. Even if you're not celebrating Mother's Day today in your country, because I know it's different. In like some countries, it's on like the fourth Sunday of Lent or something like that. But some other countries are celebrating it today, just besides the U.S. So we have a global audience here. We're a global enterprise.
We're inclusive.
We are
This is
100% inclusive of
very inclusive.
all backgrounds. So, with that, happy Mother's Day. And yeah,
Steve, this is why I keep you around because number one, I don't know what countries celebrate certain holidays. I didn't know anything about when it is in comparison to Lent. So this is why I keep you around. It's really helpful
yeah, it's
because
nice to have Google. Yeah.
I'm just not culturally competent, I guess, when it comes to that stuff. So, but yeah, it is Mother's Day. And with that, dude, let's just get right into it. The biggest news really over the last week. Let's start with the incoming transfer news. Um, Further developing on Frimpong and Kirkez, right? Those are the two targets. Frimpong being at right back, of course, and then Kirkez coming in at left back. I want to start at left back because that's probably the area of most concern. Obviously, Trent's leaving, but in terms of our need, I feel like left back would be the best place to start. Now, Kirk, as we've been linked with for about a year now, we're leading the race for him. And with Tsimikas and Robertson still under contract, one, now that we think about it, does it make sense? And two, where does Kirkez fit in? You know, if we do bring him in this summer, you got three left backs. Does someone get sold this summer? Does maybe potentially Tsimikas get sold? And then Robbo becomes the, I guess, alternate? Or does Kirkez kind of just play under Robbo for a year and then we go from there?
Look, one of them would have to go. Personally, what's Robbo got? 1 year left?
One or two.
I think it's one because he made that comment about he wants the fans to push for his extension as much as we did for Van Dijk and Salah. Guys, let us know in the chat. Does he have 1 year left? I think that's the case.
He does.
If that
1
is
year.
the case, then you'll see Tsimikas go, I think, and you'll see Robbo see out his contract here and then maybe not extend. The problem becomes if you buy Kirkez, he's expecting to be a starter wherever he goes. He's probably the hottest left back that's in the market right now in Europe. Surprisingly enough, because I didn't even hear of the guy until 6 months ago. So that's what one good season in the Premier League will do for you.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I can't say with confidence that he's a better player than Robbo. Robbo's lost a step for sure, but Robbo's an experienced veteran. He's still got the stamina. I feel like for the most part, he's healthy and fit. But this year wasn't great for him. But I don't think that necessarily means he needs to be replaced. I didn't see people necessarily putting him on skates on a regular basis, but his assists weren't there.
Sure.
He wasn't as consistent, and he's definitely not the same player. But like Kyle, I can't picture Kirkez coming in and starting over Robbo. I just
No.
can't picture it.
No, neither can but because you're right, this is the first year we've noticed Robbo's kind of had a drop off. But another thing we have to bring up as well is the fact that the fullbacks weren't as involved this year as they've been in years past. So production might not be there, more defensive responsibility, and not as much offensive involvement, let's say. But to your point about Kirkez coming in and just starting all of a sudden, I can't see it. I also don't watch Kirkez on a regular basis. But Robbo being the player that he is, as you brought up all those points, the stamina, the experience, right? That leads me into the depth question, right? Does Robbo become a depth piece for left back, whereas Kirkez becomes the young, energetic guy that can play in Slot's ideal system? Like, does he want to take this player and implement him in a way that Robbo might not be able to, given his age, right? Or given his particular style of play, right? We know Robbo's very direct, not a lot of flash, one-footed, but he does offer speed. He offers energy. He does offer good defending. I don't know much about Kirkes to talk about those individual aspects of his game, but I do believe that something could be said for Tsimikas being sold and Robbo becoming almost second string. Right now, of course, we've seen it before with Slot, where Slot will start someone, and if you miss a header, you're done for 6 months, right? We talked about this last week. So say you bring in Kirkes, you start Robbo. Robbo has a bad game, and then Kirkes gets a start, or vice versa, right? I think that's a good 1-2 punch. You keep Robbo around for until his contract expires. You extend him another 2 or 3 years, which I think ultimately he is more than capable of doing at a top level, and you go from there.
I just can't picture him starting over Robbo. That said, somebody said here in the chat, might have been Liz. Yeah, Liz said let them fight for the position, and I'm assuming she's talking about Kirkesh and Robbo, maybe. I don't think it would be a bad idea to bring somebody in to push Robbo and to bring the best out of him, because if you think about it, we've had Tsimikas for a number of years, but was he ever really a threat to take over the number one left back position? No.
At certain points, yes, but I get what your overall point is
At certain points he was in better form, and
right,
he did
right.
things. I mean, but we knew we were getting a pretty solid player when we got him. Now, he was never really, really a threat to become the long-term number one option. He was an excellent backup.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best second string left back in the league. I don't know, City. I feel like City's got like 10 guys that can play left back. So whatever. But my point is, if Tsimikas goes, I feel like he'll go somewhere internationally and he'll get a bunch of playing time, and he deserves it. He's been a great servant to the club. Robbo deserves to stay. I'd like to keep him around, if nothing else, to help Kirkesh develop. And Kirkesh he'll push Robertson to earn that position and keep his spot, or at least raise his level and keep his focus. So I think it's a great idea. I just personally cannot picture Robertson sitting on the bench while this new guy comes in and starts right away. But that's what would be expected of a signing of this caliber. I mean, he's not going to be super cheap, and he's highly sought after. So
he is very highly sought after. Another thing I want to point out too, he's only 21. He's only 21 years old.
Robbo's got 10 years on him.
Yeah.
This kid was 11 years old when Robbo started shredding it here.
Yeah.
Or like 13 years old.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he this year in the Premier League, dude, he's played every match. He's played every match in the Premier League. And 2 goals, 5 assists. Kirkes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Robbo. I was just looking at Robbo's stats. He's got 2 assists in the last 2 Premier League seasons. It's bad. Real bad.
Yeah. There's a steep fall off there. Steep fall off. But yeah, I'm looking at Kirkes here. He is. When we've played Bournemouth, I've seen him play, and I like him. I like what he brings. I also like Semenyo. Bournemouth has these sleepers that I really like, dude. But I could see it, and the fact that he's 21, he's not at his peak value yet. So you might be able to get him for a steal. I'm seeing a lot of links with it being around 50 or so. Paying 50 for a left back is a lot, though. But in today's market, if you don't find a release clause or you don't find someone on an expiring contract, let's say, that's what you're going to end up paying. And another thing that may be working in our favor is Richard Hughes being from Bournemouth. He might have a little bit more info, maybe a little more a better relationship with the club, maybe we can get a deal done. And maybe that's why we do lead the race for him, because I know we're not the only team in the market for a left back. Bonker says next season is his last. If you're referring to Robbo, that would be very interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, let me just ask you straight out, Steve. Do you even want to extend Robbo?
Yes.
Okay. Chat, let us know if you want to extend Robbo. Because I think I do as well. I don't
I'm looking
think
at a comparison right now.
of Robbo and Kirkej.
Yes.
Okay.
Expected goals and assists combined, which would be, I think this is per 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
0.2 for Robertson, 0.12 for Kirkej.
Okay.
So analytics-wise, Robertson is more likely to get a goal and an assist. However they calculate this. Looking at passing, completion percentage, Robbo 83, Kirkej 75. So Robertson has not been the same player, but analytics-wise, on paper, he's better. If you take out goals and assists this year, he could be
Okay.
considered better. You could make the argument he's still better.
You could. I mean, if you can always make that argument. I just haven't watched enough of Kirkej to like go into that side of the debate, like who's better or anything like that. All I know is that we've had our eye on this guy. Of any left backs that I'm aware of in the world, I think Kirkej is actually, like you said at the very beginning, one of the hottest prospects in Europe at that position. So if we're able to land him at 21 years old, that's a pretty damn good deal, man.
Work him into the system for a year
Yes.
until Robbo goes. I'm down for that.
Yeah. When
That
we sign
makes
players
sense.
from the Prem, they always do well. Okay. Liz here says, Robbo's 31, Kirkez is 21. It's time to move on. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, even so, keep Robbo around in a like an advisory role. I mean, he's still going to play. He's not washed. You know, he's not 37, 38. Dude's 31.
I mean, he started 99% of our matches this year, and we just won the league.
That is kind of crazy.
Or he appeared in 90% of our matches. I don't know if he started that many.
I want to point this out as well, because thank you for bringing this up, Warku here. Ain't Nori, bro. That's another player that I am so impressed with when I watch. Very, very good left back. Left wing back, however you want to classify what he plays at Wolves, but very, very good player. That's a good shout. Dustin says, I think we keep Tsimikas. What do you think about that, Steve? You think, I mean, one of them has to go. So if you keep Tsimikas and sell Rob, I don't see a world where you let Robbo walk. I don't. At the end of this contract, at the end of this one.
We don't sell players like that.
Yeah, we don't.
So
especially players.
I can't picture us.
Go ahead.
But wait, hold on. Things are different now. Slot's had a year under his belt. I'm sure he's been involved in many sales in his previous roles. So maybe he is more likely to sell these guys, because we just saw what happened with Trent. We could have made $100 million, and we let the contract run down. And if you think about it, if we made that first approach, like the reports are saying now, our first offer was in April of 2024, and he was telling us no the whole time, or declined or whatever, we should have sold him.
Who are you talking about, Trent?
Trent. A report came out from either David O'Connell or one of these guys, one of these legitimate reporters, a few days ago, maybe a week ago, that said our first contract offer to Trent was April 2024. So that was this time last year. And then you had the rest of the season, the summer, the first half of the season, January, you had plenty of time. If you weren't making progress, or if he, I would imagine, told them he wanted to go to some extent, or he was exploring other options, we could have sold him.
So here's the issue with that I'm finding out. It appears that Madrid told Trent, and Trent was under the impression that there's no way he's going to Madrid unless it's on quote unquote Madrid's terms, which meant they were only going to sign him if they let his contract expire. Therefore, they don't have to pay the transfer fee, right? They can give the player a bigger sign-on bonus. And Trent, according to the report I saw this week, bro, he's only on 150K a week, which
Yeah,
is
he's not making much.
less. I mean, we say that like it's not a lot. It is, but that's less than he was making at his recent contract that's going to expire here, which was 180. Now, I think I saw 20 million was the sign-on bonus for him, which that over the course of a 5-year contract does make it double, triple his weekly wage if you broke it out that much. So I don't know how Madrid are pulling that, but when you look at the players they've signed on freeze, the pull, the power that you have, and it's almost insulting to Liverpool and the other teams that they've done this to. You convince one of their team's best players to let their contract expire, reject all the new contract offers, and come on a free. That way, Madrid says, hey, we don't have to pay you for shit. That's remarkably insulting. And so I don't think it's crazy that they have that much power. But they did it. They did it with Mbappe. They did it with Trent. I think they did it with Alaba too. There were some other players they did it with. But the point being is that, yes, Trent rejected the new contract, but we didn't just have the option to sell him if there's no bid. Right?
There was a bid.
That's what we saw in January. But which report do you believe? It's really just down to what you believe. Do you believe there was a bid, or do you believe that Madrid said, no, you're going to join on a free because that's our terms? So it's what you want to choose to believe.
Yeah, I believe there was a bid because personally, I believe he hadn't made his complete decision yet. And so they thought, because if they knew they were getting him, regardless, if he had already told them we're coming, unless they were panicking about where they'd finish this season, why would you bid for him in January? Unless you're concerned with the rest of the season and the trophies you're going to fight for, why would you bid 70 million for him in January if you were certain he was going to come in the summer for free? 70 million is not a little bit of money, even for them.
I didn't see 70. I saw 30
I don't remember
January.
what it was. We talked about this. Alexi was in the chat like a month ago, maybe. We talked about this. I thought it was 70, dude.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
70? It doesn't make sense because there was 6 months left on his contract. But if you want him that bad and you're not sure that he's going to come, 70 gets you the player. And when you get all these guys on freeze, sometimes you got to make a move like that.
And see, again, that's where it brings me back. And this leads us perfectly into our next transfer link. But the power that Madrid have to kind of just sit back with their arms crossed and just like wait for this to unfold without making a bid is just crazy. Like I know you believe they made a bid. I know it was reported they made a bid, but for them to just be like, look, if you want to come to Madrid, you're going to reject the contract offers. We're not going to make an offer for you. And yeah. And if it does turn out that Trent was kind of dragging his feet and making Liverpool believe that he was going to sign an extension just so Liverpool weren't expecting a bid for it, that's messed up. But then we're getting into just pure speculation at this point. And with him leaving, then the gap is in right back, right? You have Connor Bradley in the wings, phenomenal player, but you need depth. You need multiple players at each position. And that leads me into Frimpong. Now, the biggest criticism of Frimpong is he is offensive-minded. He's more of a wingback, not defensive-minded. However, the 30 million release clause that has been reported to be in his contract this week was also reported to be able to be paid in installments, which the club has 30 million. You just won the Premier League. You got 30 million if you need to pay it outright. But that's kind of nice to be able to, hey, we're going to pay in installments. And then if you do need to splash on a striker, if you do need to splash on a, left back or a new defender or whatever the case may be, you can. I think that's nice for Liverpool to be able to have. And I think Frimpong is the name we've been linked with the most and the most consistently. And now that I'm thinking about it, Steve, is there anyone aside from Frimpong that we've even been linked with at right back?
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen weak links for guys like Dumfries.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, he's played center back.
yeah. Who else have I seen links
I
for?
saw
There's
Dumfries.
definitely been other links, but strong links like this? No, I don't believe so. Um, the thing with Frimpong is he's attacking minded, but so is
Yes.
Trent. And so if you look at let's take this year for example. Trent missed game time with injuries, but he's very offensive minded. And for the most part, his defending has improved. Overall, if you look at the bigger picture, his defending has improved. He's still not a great defender. He still gets put on skates. Look what Doku did to him, right?
Yeah.
Now, if even if Frimpong, some say, is a worse defender, I mean, how would we know until he gets here and is playing against the same caliber of players? How would we know? But we won the league. Even with Trent as a defensive liability at times, we only let up 35 goals this year. That's second in the league. But a big part of why we scored 81 goals and have way more goals than everybody else in the league is because he's offensive minded. So when you weigh the scales, our defense was still overall solid, and our offense is by far the best in the league. So it's not a like for like replacement. Frimpong's not going to do the things that Trent can do with his right foot. But if he can continue to deliver on the attack and just keep some of that same vibe that we've had up the right side for the last 7 or 8 years, I'm all for it. And for that
Well,
price, it's not bad.
no, not at all. I mean, 30 million release clause can be paid in 4 installments. That's a deal that Liverpool drool at. He's only 24 years old. And another thing I want to talk about with the wing back per se, let's call him a right wing back. Okay. We're isolating Trent on an island, or anyone who's defending, we're criticizing their defending because of the one-on-one battles, right? You can lose one-on-one battles and you can be made to look bad, but that doesn't necessarily lead to a goal. That doesn't necessarily lead to a big chance being created. It might just mean you lunge at a tackle, or I don't know, you're exhausted. But you're right. Our defense as a whole, even with Trent having terrible games or not being a great defender, like you said, we're still top. And so that makes me believe, hey, we could get a wing back and be fine. Right? I mean, even with the double pivot now, as opposed to that the 4-3-3 type of system that Klopp played, you're not having attack-minded midfielders responsible for coming back and defending. You're having players like McAllister and Gravenberch who still have great defensive instincts helping out in the wide areas if, let's say, Trent pushes forward, which the wing backs weren't, or excuse me, the right backs and left backs, they weren't as involved in the attack anymore. So I feel like we're just more solid defensively as a team. Like we're not so high up the pitch, and I think that's ultimately why we had so much success this year defensively. Um, Regardless, it also depends on the system that Slot wants to play. Do we actually know if Slot adapted his philosophy to the team we had? No, we don't. We don't know if this is how he wants to play over the last year, or if he actually has a completely different style and he needs to bring in the right players to be able to implement that style. We'll know more after this summer and who he brings in. But yeah, I saw this comment as well. The best American content creator, lads. Very knowledgeable. Always enjoyed your chat. Keep it up. Like and subscribe. Shout out to Kazir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then Real McCoy here. That's definitely our guy. He changed his name, so now I'm forgetting it. But
Ramsey.
Ramsey,
Michael
thank
Ramsey.
you. Ramsey.
This is one thing. This is a great point, though, by the way. Michael
No,
Ramsey,
it's
where have you
not.
been? Welcome back. I don't think he's too short, but he's definitely not as strong as Trent. Trent has gotten beefy, and he's not going to get muscled off the ball. I don't think he has the same agility as Frimpong. We'll see if he comes in, but he's definitely not as strong.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the strength, but again,
And the height, who knows? I mean, Trent didn't do anything in the air, regardless of his height. So I'm not
yeah,
sure how much that matters.
he really
But I
didn't.
do agree he's smaller. He's got a smaller build, and that comes into play. Like maybe not height so much, but just overall stature, strength. There is a difference between the two players. I would agree with this to some extent.
Yeah, and Frimpong is the leading candidate according to several reports. Um, and the report regarding his release clause was from David O'Connell or Dave O'Connell. So, it's definitely a heavy link. We'll see how this unfolds this summer. But another one, Steve, that I know you have something to say about is De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are real links.
Yeah, this one is definitely it's got some
I
legs to
don't
it.
know if it's likely. I wouldn't say that, but these are legitimate links.
He's
Somebody
I've
has talked to somebody. I believe there's, as we know, I think it's Virgil and his kids go to the same school or something like that. Um, he's the one Man City player we can all agree that we respect. I would imagine
no,
everyone
I
here.
agree. I agree.
He's world class. It would be like a Thiago signing. I think De Bruyne would probably be more fit than Thiago, but De Bruyne has his own fitness issues. There's no doubt about that. But if you can get him like a Thiago type signing, couple hundred K a week, few years, he can make magic happen.
Give me 3 years with De Bruyne. 3 years, like you said, Tiago type signing. What does that do? Wait a minute, I just had a thought. If Elliott goes, if we sell Elliott to Newcastle, De Bruyne comes in, and then your
We're better.
midfield. Oh, we're so much better.
We definitely improve. As long
What
as
a
he's fit. But if he doesn't have to
yeah.
play every match, and if he's not as crucial of a piece as he has been to Man City's success, right? Like he's a pivotal piece. He's expected to create so much.
hmm
But if you come here, we got Soboslai, McAllister. We have. It's different. It's just different here. You're not going to play every game,
Completely different system too.
right?
Completely different system. You're right. You're not going to play every game, and maybe that plays into De Bruyne's hand though, right? Because you're not going to have as much responsibility. You're only going to be asked to play in certain games, and the quality you get with him, it's. I think the Thiago comparison is excellent because the quality and just the pure talent you get, even if you're only getting, God forbid, let's say you're getting 20 games of availability in the Premier League season out of him, it's still a lot of quality that you're getting.
Dude, there's a lot of players that I like put in this category of like you're still an asset even at the back end of your career. And yes, Thiago's the perfect example because we experienced it firsthand. What can happen when one of these they're legends
Yeah.
come to the club? But like I also think about guys like Thomas Muller, right? He's like 100 years old. He's about to leave Bayern, but even in his older age, like the last few years, he's been great.
hmm
There's some players that just the Tony Cruz. What's he, 40?
Yeah. Tony Cruz is
Modric.
another.
Some of these
Modric.
players, their IQ is just on another level, and it's okay if they're not available the whole year. Like
Yeah.
Thiago was an extreme example, especially the last like 18 months he was here. Um, but KDB, man, him and Valverde are probably my two favorite, or the two players that I've wanted the most over the last, we'll call it 3 years.
My admiration for De Bruyne has kind of declined over the last 2 years, but it's mainly been because of the injuries, right? It's not, people aren't talking about how good De Bruyne is, mainly because he's just not playing as much, but he still has that talent and he's not terribly old. I mean, he is older, but you know, nowadays it's like you said, with Modric and Cruz, you're still going to play. The only other thing that I could see is if he's linked with Saudi. Um,
He
I
won't go
could
there.
I don't think he will either. I also think he's jumping at the opportunity to play for Liverpool because, we've all seen the thing where he's a huge Liverpool fan or his family is, and that would be very, very cool to have him in the side. And the last guy we did that with, Milner, seems like he did pretty well, don't you think?
So the good news is he's out of contract. So Man City wouldn't sell him to us. So, but we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that.
No, it's a free.
I think it's either going to be Liverpool, maybe back to, where was he at? Wolfsburg? Maybe something weird like that. I don't even know if they're in the Bundesliga right now.
Why would he ever go back to Wolfsburg?
But players like to return to where they've played before, or Miami is a rumor, or the MLS. I still think he's been banged up all year. He's appeared 26 times in the league. He's got 4 goals, 7 assists. Even with the dumpster fire that Man City have been this year. Like, he's still got it. He still wants to play at the highest level. He said he would like to stay in the Premier League, and he still thinks he's at that level. So, Chelsea, he was there before.
Yeah,
but I don't think anybody in their right mind with his experience and he's not stupid. Chelsea is a mess. They're still a mess with all the players they've signed over the years. Like, you really want to get thrown in the mix there? Like, it's not the club he was at back in the day. Chelsea is a different club now. It's different.
You're absolutely right. It's a different club. And that's, I just want to touch on this too. Huijsen, I saw a link this week that Chelsea might be a more interesting. This just made me want to vomit reading this. The report suggested that Chelsea actually may be leading the race for Huijsen. Let's just call him Huijsen because I don't know how to pronounce it. As that project might be more interesting to him as they're looking for like an on-ball presence next to Fofana. And I'm reading that and I'm just like, are you insane? Why? It has to be money. It has to be money.
Somebody from London wrote that. It's a joke. Fofana's been here for 2 years. He's played 29 matches in the league in 2 years.
That
out of a possible 75. He's got, dude. Never mind.
I know I have so much just to say but I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. It exhausts me reading about players who are linked with Chelsea and they think it's a good idea. It's like, why? Right? Yeah, you play for Bournemouth, so I get it. Like, I'm like, okay, this wouldn't be a lateral move, right? You're going to Chelsea. Even if Chelsea are terrible, you're still getting more money. You're playing for a better club. I get it. But why would you want to go to a toxic work environment? Like, if there's ample evidence, Steve, that the place you're going is toxic and awful, there's a new manager every 6 months.
There's going to be another one soon.
There's going to be another one. And you're like, that seems like a very stable, good place to go and raise a family. Are you an idiot? It's unreal.
I mean, they do need a center back, though. It's Colwill, Badiashile.
They just signed all of these people. And you're thinking...
Yeah, Chalobah.
All of these people are brand new. It's kind of crazy. Like, Colwill's been there for what, 2 seasons now? Maybe 2 seasons. Badiashile, whatever. He's not older than 3 or 4 years at Chelsea. Chalobah, I think he's been there. I think he may have been an academy product. I could be wrong about that.
They stink.
But it's not like they don't have center backs. It's just they bought all these young guys because Chelsea are doing, we've talked about this before. What Chelsea are doing is they're not trying to find the diamond in the rough. They're trying to find like a small diamond that's clear they have talent, bring them to the club and hope they develop into a world-class player. And that's risky because you spend a lot more money to get a small diamond, and there's no guarantee that they're going to become world-class. So then their value just declines. Whereas if you get a young player who's not proven at all for a very low fee, even if they don't pan out, it's almost guaranteed that their value is going to be higher because they play for your club. I mean, they're doing it very, and that's why Colwill being linked with us and Chelsea. Remember, he was like a big deal. He's gone to Chelsea. He ain't nothing now.
Yeah, nobody's talked about him all
No
year.
one's talked about Colwill.
Before the season, they were. Even last year. Colwill. What a joke. But then we can't do this. We can't do this with Chelsea. Intriguing project. Whoever reported that, there's an idea. There's a bit of truth to that. Not from a project perspective, but he will walk into that side and start next to Colwill or Fofana, whoever's fit, and whoever's not in the doghouse with Maresca, if he's still there. But you're not going to start off Konate if we keep him, and you're not starting over Virgil.
But
So
isn't
what
that
would you rather do?
so? That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like he might rather go to Chelsea, but can't you see this, right? Chelsea, hey, we're going to sign you and you're immediately going to play. You're going to be our number 1 or number 2 center back. There's only 2 outcomes to that. You sink or you swim. All right? And it seems like a lot of players that go to Chelsea for that intriguing, I'm going to play all the time and get paid for 9 straight seasons offer, they end up sinking. That boat is barely above water.
Kyle, you know what's crazy? I was thinking about this. Liz says, by the way, what's the drink of the day? Standard coffee, Liz. Nothing crazy today. Thank you for always asking, though. The money tree's in rough shape, by the way, just for everybody's. We're in rough shape. Maybe I'll put a picture in the Discord. The thing about Chelsea is I don't believe, and this is just a guess, I don't believe that the players view it the same way we do. I don't think they look at Chelsea and they're like, yo, that place is a freaking mess. Look at all the money they spent, all the players they've signed. And then when you look at their depth chart, it's like kind of embarrassing. You guys have spent so much money. There's one world-class player on your team.
And who is it?
Cole Palmer.
Oh, yeah, Cole Palmer.
Probably. And you got him for a good deal. Now, Caicedo had a good year. I think Enzo can play at times, for sure. But I'm like,
but then you
guys have spent all this money, and these players are not improving. Who's improving?
That's so.
Chelsea.
That's exactly what I was getting at, bro. That's exactly what I was getting at. They're buying players for a very high fee. And that's the gamble they're taking, right? They're not trying to buy low and sell high and managing risk, right? Because if you buy a player low and they don't pan out, oh well, we paid a low fee anyway, right? They're just paying whatever the player costs, bringing them in, and the risk of them getting better, or excuse me, the odds of them getting better is very slim. So these players are either stagnating or getting worse because they're coming to an environment where there's no developmental mindset, right? There's no structure in place for them to get better. So you bring in Nkunku, trash, right? You bring in, has Caicedo had a good year, like you said, but has anybody on that team, aside from Palmer, gotten better, Steve? Actually gotten better? The answer is no.
I'm just checking really quick to make sure that is correct.
No one has gotten better. And the players they've brought in have been huge transfers at the time. So I know you said the players maybe don't view Chelsea the same way we do, but when will the evidence scream at these players? Hey, no one who's come to Chelsea in the last 4 years has gotten better. Nobody. The team hasn't gotten better. Yeah, you're getting a lot of money, but what's going on with the team? Any player... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're absolutely right. But at the end of the day, you mentioned it earlier, and you're at, where's he, Bournemouth? Mm-hmm. You're at Bournemouth. Smaller stadium, smaller club. Facilities definitely aren't as good. We're just imagining that's the case, right? Assuming, strong assumption. Safe bet. You get good. You get really good, and your name starts getting tossed around as a big hot topic around Europe. What I think is happening is I think he would rather, Huijsen, or a lot of players, might rather go to different clubs than Chelsea. I don't think they see it as the biggest shithole that we do right now and just like chaotic mess. But at the end of the day, they're not stupid. Like they know how much money they've spent and how they have like 50 first team players and like 20 goalkeepers and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I think Chelsea is so trigger happy to make transfers that Chelsea jump at these opportunities early for the most part. They throw a contract offer in your face, and it's like you're probably scared to have to stay at Bournemouth for another year. And your name's getting tossed around, and maybe people are checking in with your agent, but maybe there's not concrete talks with the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Man Uniteds, the Bayern Munichs of the world. No, nothing concrete. You haven't received an offer, and Chelsea's like, hey, here's an offer. And I don't know if they put a hard expiration date on it, but that's typically how contracts and transactions in the world, generally speaking, work. And like, I feel like these guys just jump at the decision to go to a bigger club that's got a lot of history in the city, in London, and get some financial security.
I get it. Dude, trust me, because you're right. If you take it from the viewpoint of being that athlete at a Bournemouth, at a Brighton, at a Southampton, I'm just pulling from the latest where these players are from. Colwill was at Brighton. You have, Palmer was different. Gusto was at Lyon, right? You see Chelsea, right? You see London, and you see the money. Of course you're going to go. I get it. But I think part of it for me also is, yes, you don't know when you're going to get injured. You don't know when your last day is going to be, all that stuff. And I know it's different for an athlete. But is it just me, or do I think it's way too easy to just ask your agent, hey, can you email this club or can you call this club and see if these rumors are real? And if they say that they are, like they're interested, can we start discussions with them? Because I'd rather go to a different club. Or is it because then it just becomes about money? You know what I mean? Like no one's banking on the security or the success. And to Chelsea's credit, they are fifth in the table, right? They are fifth. They're not as bad as they've been. So I will give them credit.
And but they're in the final of the Conference League, aren't they?
But I thought that was Tottenham.
Tottenham's Europa, I think. They're all in finals.
It's kind of crazy.
I think.
And so there's another point. People talking about the league's not that competitive. You have English teams in every European final. Well, I mean, except Champions League, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying. So look, that's enough about Chelsea. Hoythausen, that's what I saw. Saw it once. Haven't seen anything else. It is just me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I go on I get lost in the sauce on some of these things. And it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. But another thing too I saw that was pretty interesting, and who knows if this is true, okay? But according to Sport Build, there's internal regret around Gravenberch being sold to Liverpool. They had listen to this. This is the stupidest thing I've ever read. They had no idea that he can be defensive minded. If they knew, they wouldn't have spent 51 million on Palhinha.
Who's linked to Liverpool now, by the way? According to Transfermarkt. He's on the list. You know how if you go to Transfermarkt and click on Liverpool?
Yeah, there's a percentage.
It's a very low percentage, but he's on the freaking list, dude.
They had no idea he could be defensive minded.
Well, why didn't you try him there?
You see him every day in training. Everyone does defensive drills. Everyone does shooting drills. What are you talking about? This to me just comes off as like almost
incompetent, like, Kyle. We could say it.
Incompetent, but also kind of like a PR thing. I don't know, dude. That's there's so many of these weird, random, like breaking. Bayern didn't know that their player of a full season was defensive minded. It's like, what kind of news is that?
Isn't it nice to just like have won the league already and we get to just laugh at this
Yeah,
comedic media? Like,
yeah,
what a joke. What an absolute joke.
and more on the funny side of things. Okay, Konate saw it earlier this week. This was on Thursday. That Madrid are interested in Konate. All right, and Liverpool have set their price tag at 100 million for Konate. First off, I saw 100 million. I actually kind of felt like, hey, we could. I'd like to see that a little bit higher. To be honest with you, I rate Konate as a very, very, very good defender. But the balls. Let's just assume this is true for a minute. The balls of Madrid after Romano comes out and says, "Yeah, Trent's going to Madrid." For the link of Madrid being like, hey, we're interested in buying your other defender, Konate. I mean, God, that rubs me the wrong way, man. I'm slowly starting to hate Madrid.
Oh, and McAllister. Let's not forget about what happened.
And McAllister.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not going anywhere.
These people need something to talk about. They're not going anywhere. We just won the league. Who wins the leagues and sells all their best players? Who?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone does.
Makes no sense.
And the thing is they got to extend Konate, dude. I think he's got 1 year left.
Yep.
They got to get moving. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I'd lock him up this summer.
I'd lock him up.
5 years, 6 years, just lock him in.
Lock him in. He's probably 24 or 25 now.
Lock him in. The rest of his prime, keep him here.
No, 5 years. Give him anywhere between 150 to 200K a week. Lock him in.
200.
I think he needs 200. Yeah, I just don't know if
they all need 200 now. It's all across the board. Everyone needs 200.
I know,
except like
but
the Joneses and like, yeah, except like the Joneses and maybe like Diaz and Gakpo.
Well, it's just remarkable at the wages of some of the players. Like just until recently, Robbo was on like 55K a week or something.
That's literally a slap in the face.
And so that's what's crazy is you're right. If you're not like Konate could demand 200 and be fine, right? But I don't know, just lock him up. Just lock him up. Ardio says Madrid have zero chill. They got history of using their rep to persuade players to screw their teams over. Yes, and it's what's really, really bothering me. Barca want Diaz but can't afford him. Diaz will extend.
Yes,
Justin
he will.
says if Mac doesn't extend, fine, sell him for hella money. Yeah. I'll be honest, dude. You cannot lose McAllister.
No, but I think he might be the most likely to leave.
From his comments, yes, I agree.
He's a World Cup winner.
Dude.
He can do whatever he wants.
For how long now, Steve? For let's say 5 years. Have we been battling with Madrid over players? Right? And it's so for just what immediately comes to my mind is like Zubimendi, Bellingham. We weren't linked with Camavinga, but we were linked with Alaba, and you know things like that, right? There was a report that Mbappe, like Klopp, tried to get Mbappe back in like 2019 or whatever. Every one of these players have ended up at Madrid. Any player that we managed to get, McAllister, we had Trent. Why does it always seem like we're never the top? We're never the end destination, even when we are. We just won the Premier League. Why does it seem like there's always a risk of losing this player to Madrid?
Well, I think Madrid's smart, man. Like we are, we develop the types of players that people want. Like we have. There's been chemistry here for a decade. Trophies. If you think about it, aside from like Darwin Nunez, there's not much ego or like dirty play here. Like it's just a clean product that
Yeah.
comes out of Liverpool. A clean product of players that play at the highest level. They fight for every single trophy. They're on lower-ish wages than some of the other big clubs around the. So like it's just a perfect place to go fishing. And I don't blame them for doing that. However, who have we sold to Real Madrid, Kyle?
Good point. I'm saying head to head. Well, like that's the thing. They're our competition, right? They're not our ally. So I don't think we're selling people to Madrid, which is why it hurts more when Trent deliberately doesn't extend his contract to go to Madrid. It's why it hurts more when you see links with players going to Madrid, right? That's why it hurts when I know this isn't Madrid, but that's why it hurts when Coutinho hands in a transfer request to go to Barcelona. Right? It's like we don't want to sell to the teams we're competing with, but these players that are heavily linked seems like they want to go. And oh man, that to me that's what hurts the most. I don't mind a player like leaving on a free to go somewhere, but to the team we're directly competing with, that bothers
Yeah,
me
I
a
think
little
it's
bit.
just like it's all the links that bother us, though. Nobody's actually going. I mean, Trent's
Yeah,
gone,
that's true.
and we
That's true.
lost Bellingham to Real Madrid, and that's the big piece in the mind of all of us is things like that. I mean, Mbappe was linked here. It was never going to happen, but he went to Real Madrid, and like Chouameni, right?
Yeah.
Like those links. Those are the things that we have ingrained in our mind. But if you really zoom out, we're not selling anybody there. And Trent's the one that went there. Who else? Who else has gone there? Xabi Alonso?
Yeah, I
15,
mean,
20 years ago? Like, it's
and
not
now
really a problem. It's just annoying.
but now he's going to be the manager there, you
I
know?
know.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's just weird. I
And
don't
he's
know.
no fool. He'll know. You look at Liverpool's club, it's like, man, that's a great place to go fishing for new players. They're not on high wages. Like, it's perfect.
Right. Right. It's very interesting. Today, Steve, the guard of honor that we've all been talking about, Arsenal,
Can't wait.
Arteta's forced to do it.
He's not forced. They have a choice, and he chose to, and it's the right thing to do. And the first logical thing he said all season was Liverpool were better than us. They deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
He said
Yep.
it. And he's been talking gibberish for the last 10 days.
Yeah.
But he did say that recently, like a couple days ago. So I respect that. He's still a clown, and I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. It's gonna feel so good. Feel
Yeah.
better than any guard of honor in the history of the club, as long as I've been supporting them, as far as I'm concerned.
What about the Man City one?
Nah,
No.
it felt good at the time, but I mean, it felt good to see Bernardo Silva act like a total asshole.
Oh my God, I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Arsenal, and the weird thing is, bro, do you hate, let me ask you this right out. Do you hate anyone on Arsenal? Like the team? Do you hate anyone on the team?
The players,
Mm-hmm. Or is it just Arteta?
I mean, Arteta's obviously the biggest piece, but there are players that I don't care for that like bother me. Um, but no, I don't hate any of them.
Right.
I think they're all relatively harmless.
Exactly.
It bothers me when people talk about where people are saying Odegaard's world class and the best attacking midfielder in the league, and he's better than De Bruyne. It bothers me when people compare Saka to Salah. That really bothers me when people talk about Raya compared to Allison. That shit pisses me off.
Yep.
But as far as their actual players go, not really.
So
I
it's the
don't really care
fans.
about them.
It's
It's
the
the
Arsenal
fans
fans.
and it's the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And the
100%.
comparisons, like Gabriel to Van Dyke,
Get out of
Saliba to
here.
Van Dyke. Shut up. Like,
Yeah.
you
It's
guys got to be
ridiculous.
kidding me.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, I think just soaking in that moment of them having to give us a guard of honor because they're just constantly talking shit. Like every fan on social media that I see, or even fans that I know that are Arsenal fans on social media, like ones that I personally know, the way they like they're just so arrogant, I think is the best way to put it. Like delusionally arrogant about the team. Like, for example, comparing Saka to Salah. What are you doing?
No, I know. And for the folks that aren't familiar with American sports, aside from football, there's American football, baseball, basketball. There's the MLS, I guess, if you care about that. What else? What am I missing? Hockey.
Yeah.
There's a million sports over here. Not a single fan base across these hundreds of teams that are very popular in the US are anything like Arsenal. They're the worst in the world. They are the worst fan base in the world. And I just want everyone to know that. They are it's almost sad they're delusional. It's like they all have screws loose. And I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand. But Arteta's the perfect manager for them because yeah, he's a good manager. No one's going to dispute that. But he talks out of line on a regular basis.
Yeah,
He's always whining. He's delusional.
You can be good at what you do and be an absolute nut job.
Mourinho,
I like him though. I used to hate him, but
he's nuts, dude. He's absolutely nuts.
He's got some screws loose. But when I listen to Mourinho talk, I'm kind of like, hell yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, I agree.
Everett says United are the worst. They're close. Lately,
close.
It's been Arsenal as far as I'm concerned, because United just don't really have much going for them. But this is not a bad shout. This is decent.
Yeah. And Oyvind, member for 46 months, bro. Really appreciate it. Arsenal fans being number one at something. How about that? Yeah, they're a good team. I don't dislike the players. It's mainly the fans. And I'll throw this in there. It was confirmed this week that Zubimendi's going to Arsenal. All right, so Steve, I want to get your thoughts on that. And then we'll wrap this thing up because I think that feels like a perfect place to just end this.
Yeah, and it's a perfect place for him to go as well. You claim allegiance to this club, you turn down Liverpool, you stay, you stink, and then you end up at Arsenal less than a year later.
And you know what Arsenal fans claimed? This is what I'm seeing, right? They're saying Madrid tried, Liverpool failed, Arsenal succeeded. Like, dude, are you serious? That's no. You're delusional.
Delusional.
This guy fucked up twice.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I got Arsenal now.
Yeah, and it's not a bad club to play for.
No.
Like, generally speaking, there's some history there. They're fighting for trophies. Like, cool. But that's part of the delusional fan base. Oh, he snubbed Liverpool for Arsenal. Like, no.
No,
We're
he
not
didn't.
back in for him yet. We wanted him, and he's gone now. He turned us down. We're not going back in for him. Gravenberch is better than Rice and Zubimendi combined this year.
Yeah.
I would argue Endo had better per 90-minute stats than Zubimendi. McAllister playing out of position is better than Zubimendi. I think we're all set.
And,
crazy.
We'll see how it ends up, right? I mean, Zubimendi, Declan Rice in midfield could be a hell of a combination. We don't know yet. But as of right now, again, it's not the team. It's how the fans are reacting to this. And Zubimendi is an idiot. Let's just be real. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I respected it at the time. You're claiming allegiance to a club. You're like, look, I really do like this club, But if you're going to claim allegiance to a club and be that close to a transfer and then back out and say, look, no, my loyalty lies here, and then a year later go to a different club, you just look like you have I can't trust anything you say. You have no balls.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. Dustin says another good player wasted. Jordan Welch says Zubi was mid when Sociedad played Man U in the Europa League.
Kyle, Jorginho still plays for Arsenal. I don't know what his contract looks like.
He
But he
does?
literally still gets minutes. He still gets minutes.
Wow.
Okay. Partey, who's rumored to maybe leave.
Oh, he's gone.
Rice and Zubimendi. That's 4 DMs. He's joining a club that has 2 DMs in the pecking order above him. So, I don't know. The guy's an idiot. Guy's a complete idiot. Wrapping this up, I'm not going to do a score prediction today because all I care about is the Guard of Honor. I would love to win. Last week made me feel kind of shitty, but I understand why they lost. I would love to win. But yeah, Guard of Honor all day. Let's go.
Guard of Honor prediction for that, though. I think Declan Rice shows nothing but class to the players. Like, I feel like Declan Rice is the kind of guy that's going to go around the kickoff circle and like shake hands with everyone. Like, hey, congratulations.
Yes.
Like, well done. And, I think maybe Arteta shakes Slot's hand, but during this game, you're going to see Arteta complaining to the refs. You're going to see him like grab it, like, what? Like, you're going to see him acting like it's the biggest game in the world. So that's where I'm at with that.
They need it really bad.
They do. Shout out to all of our channel members, Oyvind 46 months, Liz, Hannah, Ardio's in here, and of course, everyone else who comes in every week. Dustin, Shayna, Everest. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you being here. Steve, do you have any closing thoughts, man, before we wrap this up?
I do not. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Absolutely, guys. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the Guard of Honor. Soak it in. You don't know how often this is going to happen. We don't know if it's ever going to happen again. So soak it in. And until next time, Reds, take care.